What about carrying a weapon openly as a deterrent? That is the question of the day in today's Ask Sifu series. Once again, if you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, punch that bell, and give this video a thumbs up. If there's any questions you want me to cover, just do me a favor, leave them in the comment section down below, or email me at masterwanish@gmail.com. Now let's get to it. Since I'm talking about weapons, I'm going to throw another disclaimer in here. Today's video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Now, here's the deal. Let's get to this question. The question is, what about carrying openly as a deterrent? And he's talking about a knife in this particular situation, and I'll bring you up to speed in our conversation. I put out a video that said how to tell if somebody is a good knife fighter. And to make it simple, if they're a good knife fighter, you'll know it because you don't see the blade, you only feel the blade. I'll repeat that. You know if somebody's a good knife fighter because you don't see the blade, you only feel the blade. You feel you've been cut, you're bleeding. Later on, a few seconds later, your brain triggers in and says, oh man, I've been stabbed, right? Your adrenaline in the heat of the battle might be going off the charts, and you might not even recognize you've been stabbed until after the fight. You know, every situation is going to be a little bit different, but the gist of the matter is a good knife fighter isn't waving his blade in the air. It's stealth, and next thing you know, you've been stabbed. Now, he responded with a comment, well, you'll see my K-bar from a mile away. For those that don't know what a K-bar is, it's a neat little knife that looks like such. Let's see if I can put that in the screen. Very stealth, very effective combat blade, and it's a deadly weapon, as all knives, right? And my response was a K-bar is an awesome knife, but what I'm getting at is a good knife fighter doesn't brandish his weapon. His reply was great point, but what about carrying it openly as a deterrent? Now, just to get back real quick to that, just because somebody's waving their blade around and maybe they're not a great knife fighter doesn't mean they can't cut you, right? So if you ever see a knife, you definitely want to take off. Remember, if you can run and run away, great, run. Just don't forget that. I just want to, bring that up, hammer that home. If you see a knife, doesn't mean they can't cut you. That's okay. Well, they showed me the knife. They're not a great knife fighter, right? Sifu said only a great knife fighter keeps it stealth and you wouldn't see it. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean they can't cut you. If you see a knife and you can get out of there, take off. Now, why not use your blade as a deterrent, right? Why not wave the blade around as a deterrent? I did just say, if you see a knife, run. Well, for one, not everybody knows that, right? And for two, you're giving away your secret, right? You have that weapon, use that stealth. Use it only if you have to, right? Only if you have to. In most self-defense, all self-defense situations, it's about escaping with your life. You want to just get out of there with your life. So if you can take off, you take off. It's that simple. If you can't, then you have to stick around and deal with it. So save that blade for when you need it. Now, let me give you a situation where I might brandish my weapon, where I might pull my blade out. If I see they have a knife I can't take off and I have a blade, I'm pulling that out. Why? Because I'm going to use my blade to disarm them, if not worse. So that's a situation where I'm going to expose my weapon because I want it handy, because they have a deadly weapon, and I'm going to use my weapon to disarm them. So that's a situation where I'd pull that out. I'm not like, hey, here's my knife and like waving it around, but I'm pulling that out and I'm having it, whether it's still hidden, I'm pulling it out and it's ready to go. I just need it ready to go. So that's one situation. But why I'm not pulling it out going like this is, for one, I just exposed my secret weapon, right? Just say, hey, look, I got a weapon. Now they might use something in their surroundings to hit it out of my hand, disarm me. Maybe they grab the knife and they stab me with my own blade. Or worse, they see me pull out a knife and now they're like, oh, and they pull out a gun and they shoot me. Right? Now, if somebody does that and they shoot me and I'm dead, when the police show up, they can say whatever they want. I'm dead. I can't tell my side of the story. They can say, this crazy guy pulled out a knife. He was raising it around, threatened to kill me. He came at me. So I pulled out my gun and I shot him. All right? That's a worst case scenario, but that could definitely happen. Now you pulled out a deadly weapon and given them a reason to use deadly force. So there's several reasons why you don't want to go brandishing your weapon. There's also a lot of legality to, make sure your blade is legal carry And are you allowed to even open carry a blade? And then pulling it out is a whole nother story. But I just want to throw out there's some legality, state by state, country by country, that you should be aware of. So these are a few things. You know, you've just exposed you have a knife, and now you've given them a reason to use deadly force if they have a gun. So those are some good reasons why you might not want to brandish your weapon. Now, when you're doing handgun training, the first thing they teach you is, or one of the things they teach you is, you don't pull out your gun and ever say freeze. You're not a law enforcement officer. You're not the police. So you don't go freeze, and you don't use your gun and stop and use your gun as a deterrent. When you pull that gun out, bang, bang. That's what you're pulling your gun out. You're going to be using it in the worst case scenario. Therefore, you save it for that. You save your weapons for the just when they absolutely have to be used. You don't use them any other. You don't want to kill anybody. You don't want to hurt anybody. You use these weapons when you have no other choice. If you can't escape, if you can't get away, that's when you're going to use one of these deadly weapons. So they're absolutely for the, you know, situations of the most dire situations where you're going to need that weapon. So that's just something to keep in mind, right? I can't stress enough. You not pull out your gun and say freeze. You don't. You pull out your gun, bang, bang. That's the end of the story. That's when you use your weapon. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to using weapons and displaying weapons and carrying a weapon. And if you have a weapon on you, you really should be really trying to get away at all costs, get away from all situations. If I had in Florida back in the day, I used to have a permit. If I had a, you know, and I almost didn't like carrying weapons on me of that nature because I know in that situation, I'm going to have to take off no matter what, no matter any situation. I'm getting out of there because I have a deadly weapon on me and I don't want to kill anybody. So it does as a reminder, and that's just how you should be, weapon or not. If you can get out of there, just get out of there. Let them think, hey, they won the fight. Let them call you whatever you need. It's better than putting somebody in the hospital or you getting hurt yourself. You don't know if they have weapons. So if you can avoid these situations at all costs, you avoid them at all costs. So that's my 2 cents on this topic. Leave your 2 cents in the comment section down below. Once again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, punch that bell, and give this video a thumbs up. I wish you and yours well. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.